Thank you very much, Muhammad. Namaste, salam, shalom, peace, alafia, mir. I'm very honored to be here today. Thank you, Muhammad. It's nice to meet you, Pastor Lloyd Jerrison. The world crises are getting worse, and the war in Ukraine has changed the world for the worst towards militarism and division. Everyone in every country is faced with incredible problems and hardships, let alone war. It's time for change, and nonviolence is the answer. It's time to unite. We have to make it happen. If we don't just do it now, it will never happen. The governments will not fix our problems. The only way is to unite. Therefore, I say that the truth to power, we have an amazing opportunity at our fingertips. I have a plan prepared for a new global peace movement called a Global Movement of Nonviolence for the children. As an emergency plan, the children and no violence are the motivation for the world to unite. So I'm here to promote nonviolence. Therefore, my presentation today about nonviolence as a tool and a proposal for a new global movement is also, I'd like to add that I recommend something different, something outside of the box to go along with a movement of nonviolence. I propose that the best possible representatives of nonviolence are asked to lead the movement. I ask that non-governmental women leaders rise up and unite to be the first to promote nonviolence, and then invite the men. This is when the movement starts. In the beginning, we want to promote nonviolence. And I do this because we need an advantage. We need an edge, something that captures the attention of the people and the world. So I would like to discuss women leading the way, though, another time. Today, I want to speak about nonviolence as a tool, as an emergency plan. And I want to talk about Secretary General Guterres from the United Nations. And lastly, then I have a few requests of everybody. At the end, we'll have a question and answer period. And the main point that I want to point out is that we can unite, and the movement can begin in the beginning of 2023, the beginning of next year. A major segment is dedicated to local application. So it's not just about global, it's about how can we work locally and also unite globally. So thank you. I'm asking you to do what has never done before, has never been done before, to promote nonviolence on a global scale. So thank you. I'm going to share my screen now to talk about nonviolence as a tool. And before I start, Mohammed, there's a new person that wants to join in. I'm going to press admit, and that should start.
Yes, do that. I've not been seeing them on my screen here. I think you can add them. If you have them, you can add that person.
Yes.
But here with me, I've not seen the. I've not been seeing them.
I thought he put you as co-host. So
Yes, Bob.
I'll watch. If I see someone, I'll admit them.
Okay, that's good. That's
Welcome,
good. That's great.
everyone.
Mm.
I'll be speaking now about nonviolence as a tool, and also about the global movement of nonviolence, how they work together, because it's time to promote the power of nonviolence. I believe nonviolence reduces the threat of violence. It diffuses the crises that erupt around the world and our individual crisis. It creates change. We can change ourselves and change our cultures of violence. And it creates goodwill, kindness, generosity, compassion, tolerance, forgiveness, and genuine caring. It creates trust and respect among nations and people. Because without trust and respect, there will be no peace. And nonviolence creates courage when there are large groups adhering to nonviolence. And that's what we want to do. We want it to be everywhere. And nonviolence is a sign of power. Power of the people. Power of unity and power of a united goal, which I'll talk about in a moment, but also power of love, the power of faith, and the power of hope. So it's a tool to attain political clout, a tool for coexistence and for social, economic, and political paradigm change. So I'd like to ask everyone to please mute themselves. Thank you. Nonviolence creates opportunity, the unexpected, the philosophical, ideological, and the psychological. So I'm going to share another screen right now. And here's what Martin Luther King said in the last sermon of his life. He says at the end, nothing will be done until people of goodwill put their bodies and their souls in motion. And that's what this is all about. We want to set an example around the world. And Gandhi, he said, we may never be strong enough to be entirely nonviolent in thought, word, and deed, but we must keep nonviolence as our goal and make strong progress towards it. Wow, what a great quote. That's one of my favorites. Whoops. Wrong one, sorry. And Gandhi and the whole world, when the war in Ukraine started, the whole world was saying, let's stop the war, no war. And then I found this poster. All the people of all countries want peace. This poster says it all. It's fantastic. I love it. And this is one of my favorites that I was talking about, is that for the children and for no violence, promoting nonviolence, mothers will do anything to defend their children. And so will the men. It's not just about women, but it's about passion and who wants to save the world. We all do. But as a strategy, let's put women in the front once the movement starts. Because now we have to just promote nonviolence. That's the first thing. Promote that it's coming. There's a movement of nonviolence coming. There's our power. There's our strength as a people movement. And so if we unite in a global movement of nonviolence for the children, we can create worldwide unity. We have to balance the scales, because right now the scales are tipped, and all the corporations and the military are holding down the scale. I call it a behemoth. But we can work for world peace by joining together. So lastly, my quote is that a global movement of nonviolence for the children is designed to unite the people of the world, all the religions, the movements, and mayors and community leaders in every village, town, and city in every country under one umbrella: nonviolence. It'll enlist all the labor movement, the youth, all the young people from around the world, the indigenous people that are showing us that the climate is the most important. Everyone can unite. And without the people in every country participating, there will be no peace and no change. All the sages throughout time have promoted nonviolence. Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, the prophet, the peacemaker. When he was a young man, he was trying to bring up all the people together, but they weren't. They were fighting. He had to try and stop the fighting, but people were trying to kill him. And so he had to defend himself. And so he got the people together to fight because he had to survive. But his objective was to bring people together and say, no more war, no more fighting. And it worked. He conquered the other people. He beat them. He had to fight, but he beat them. Now we're going to do it differently now in the new age, in this modern era with Zoom meetings. We can do it differently. But the point is, he was the peacemaker, as all the sages. So let's see how the tools work in a global movement of nonviolence. It's a plan to unite the world, as I just mentioned. It promotes a new narrative of committing to nonviolence and committing to working together for humanity, helping others. That's the constructive Gandhi segment. And then there's the obstructive. Yes, we have to mobilize and use nonviolent direct action and civil resistance. But the important part is we have to train to commit to nonviolence. That's what Gandhi and King did. They asked the people, the first thing they asked was to commit to nonviolence and practice committing to nonviolence. It won't be easy and it'll be risky. A global movement of nonviolence promotes nonviolence as the doctrine for all countries and societies. We already use law and morals from our religions and from our cultures as a tool of society. It's a tool for right and wrong. It's a great teaching tool. So now we become the teachers and the students all at the same time by promoting nonviolence as the goal, not just adhering to nonviolence. we want to make it the goal. It tells people what we're doing. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm promoting a global movement of nonviolence. Oh, there's an immediate understanding. So the title is important, and our greetings. That's why today I started with namaste, salam, shalom, right from the start. We want people to know we're not a threat. And that's why in the olden days, that's how the words came about. Salam, shalom, peace. Because when you met someone you met for the first time, you wanted to make sure that they knew you were not a threat. So that's a tool, promoting nonviolence. But it creates an immediate challenge because some people are angry, they're distraught emotionally, they have financial problems. But nonviolence can calm everything and help diffuse the crisis. It's a message that something is not right. No, that's right. Our world isn't having big problems. Something isn't right. But it needs to be fixed. So the political goal that the leaders will be asked is, first, the people will, in every country, will ask their leaders in the movement to demand that their own country renounce war, which affects all issues. There it is. It'll affect everything. And that's what we have to do is, as a global unity, global united message, we have to stop war so we can address all the world crises. So it's a tool of communication and socialization so that we can tell the people that we're doing this to illustrate for the children that we can resolve our conflicts nonviolently. So thank you. This is all about what can I do. At the end of every important meeting that I went to, at the end, the people always ask the speakers, what can I do? Well, in the beginning of a global movement of nonviolence, it's all about outreach and promotion. So here's a request. Please, if you want to join with and work directly with the global movement of nonviolence, or when you're promoting your own cause, because we're all busy and we can't all join, but while you're promoting your own cause, also promote the mother movement, a global movement of nonviolence. Make sure everyone knows about it. And they know that it's everywhere, in every country. And now I'd like to talk about how, on a global level, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has set the stage. He profoundly called for a global ceasefire, which to me is the same as saying no violence. And so Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General, has the world microphone to promote a global movement of nonviolence as the people movement to support the ceasefire. So I'm going to ask the Secretary General to reissue the ceasefire. He has the power to assemble leaders, philanthropists, media, and civil society experts. Why? To provide the means for the leaders to operate so they'll be successful. So I have the plan, and I'm going to propose that the Secretary General assemble a meeting of the leaders and the philanthropists and the media and civil society experts. And we're going to set a chain reaction in motion. A chain reaction of all the leaders everywhere joining, and they'll then enlist their own constituents. This is the moment in time we can change history and make history. So I'd like to ask you to promote that a global movement is coming. I'm sorry, a global movement of nonviolence is coming. That's the simplicity of it. So for right now, until things are ready to start with the main event, and before there's an announcement by the leaders, I'm asking you to promote that a global movement of nonviolence is coming. And also ask you to contact leaders of the peace movement and the climate movement, and ask them to contact me to help create the chain reaction. That's what I'll be asking them to do as well. And why? Because this is how we sustain our movement. Because many times a movement starts up and it can't continue. It loses its power. So this is designed to sustain the movement. So in conclusion, nonviolence is the answer. It's designed to save lives. As an example, I believe the Arab Spring was a call for nonviolence. The Occupy movement, which started in the United States and spread around the world, was a call for nonviolence. Black Lives Matter in the United States and around the world is a call for nonviolence. So this is the time. We have the tools. Mohammed, thank you for asking me to talk about the tools. Yes, we have the tools now. Nonviolence is the answer. And it transcends into pragmatic steps. That's another webinar, a whole nother story. But it's time for action. It's time for something different. Because I'm sorry to say, I see trouble coming. But we can change things if we act now. Everyone can help by promoting the mother movement. It'll help your own cause. And it makes you feel good to be part of something larger than yourself. I've tried to simplify the process because the problems are so complex. But watch what happens when you promote a global movement of nonviolence, especially when you add in women into the equation. It makes people smile. It catches their attention. And that's what my objective is here today, is to catch your attention, to join with this movement, work in your own field and promote nonviolence and promote the mother movement. Thank you very much.